Hi friends, so in this video we are going to learn how we can create a UI design for a dashboard that looks something like this. So this is a reference design that we have taken from the internet, but whenever a product has to be designed, a dashboard is a necessary element of the whole product, because from the dashboard the product owner can see the performance of their products. So let us start with designing the this design. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to Photoshop and select new file. I'm going into this document type and I'm going to choose web, and I'm going to choose this full HD resolution, that is 1920 into 1080p. Alright, then I don't like to use artboard, so I'll just duplicate this layer and remove this one, and I'll create a shape layer. So I've just selected the rectangle box and I've just left clicked on the canvas, and here I'm going to enter the dimensions that I want this shape layer to be. So as you can see, it is of the canvas size, but it is shifted a little bit this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just zero out its x and y coordinates. Okay, so this way this canvas is filled with a shape layer. You can pick the color from here if you'd like. Also, you can always just use your imagination and create new colors as well. Let's start with this top header area. So there is this search bar, and then there is this side flip menu icon. So let's create this flip menu icon first. So for that, what I'm going to do is I've just selected the shape tool. I'm going to create a small icon like this. I'll just turn off the stroke. I'll use the fill color with black, and I'll curve the edges of the box to the max. For this size, it is 3. Okay, then I'm just going to duplicate this, Control J or Command J on Mac, and then Shift move it so that it is aligned to the original layer, and then just decrease the width of it like this. So you got a menu icon like this. Okay, since we are using shape layers, these can be edited and these can be altered in any way at any point of the time. So you can even change the color, you can change the size, you can change the dimensions, you can change everything without losing any quality in it. Okay, now let's create the search box. Okay, for that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the rectangle tool again, and I'm going to trace a rectangle maybe of 70 height. Okay, and I'm just turning off its stroke, and I'm going to use fill color white like this. Then I'm going to write search box. Okay, and I'm going to choose black, slighter gray color for this. So we use a little bit of grayish tone in the text in such fields where a text has to be written, so that user can understand that this is a text field that has to be filled by the user. If we just use a darker shade like this, then it does not give a feeling of a text field that has to be filled. Okay, so for that we use a little bit of a lighter shade that gives the appearance of a blank field that has to be filled. Okay, then as you can see, the edges of this boxes are a little bit curved, and then there is a search icon as well. So okay, so I have this search icon in my shape layers option, but if you don't have the icon, what you can do is you can just go to icon finders, search for search, go to the free price selections, and you can choose any of the icon that you like for your design. Okay, so suppose I have taken this icon. I'll just drag and drop this icon into my canvas like this. I'll just rescale it and place it over here. And as you can see, this is in dark color, but here in the original design it is matching the text color. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just choose the FX layer and I'm going to use color overlay, and I'm going to use a little bit of a grayer shade like this. Okay, I can probably increase the size of this text layer to maybe 28. 24 is fine. If you are working in Photoshop and you have taken a resolution of 1920 into 1080, then the best suitable text for web design is 24 pixels. I'm just aligning my icon and text with the box, and let us curve the box as well. So since it is a shape layer, I'm going to the properties of the shape layer, and I'm just going to increase the curvature of this box a little bit like this. Okay, so we have created this top menu, but as you can see, this design has to be divided into two parts. So let's just move this search box. For that, I'm just clubbing all the search box elements and grouping it. Okay, and I'm going to just move it like this, and I'm just going to duplicate this background layer, and I'm going to resize the top layer and maybe take it to this much size and change its color to white. Alright, and now I can adjust my search box according to the design, and I'm just going to group these two layers for flip menu icon, and then I'm just going to select both of these text box group and the flip menu group and recenter them, realign them so that the design looks a little bit more symmetrical. Okay, so we have done this. Now let's move to this tabs menu over here. Okay, so there are these four options, and then there is this option to either check out your design into the grid view or in a list view. Okay, so let's start by typing these four words. This is overview, comparison, analysis, overview. These all are in dark black colors. Overview. Comparison. Then there is reporting. Alright, and then there are two icons, so let's just create those icons very fast. I just created one small box with dark gray color, and I'm just going to duplicate it by pressing first I have just used the Control J command, and then I'm going to use this duplicating with by pressing the shift key so that all the elements are in alignment with each other. Maybe a closer one would be better like this. Okay, so this is one icon, and if you're using the shape layers, what you can do once you have finalized your shape, you can just select all the shape layers and you can right click and you can merge the shape layers. So what this does is this creates all of these four layers into one shape layer, so that whenever you change its color, all the icons in that particular shape layer changes. Okay, so we have done this like this, and we'll place it somewhere over here. And as you can see, we have to align some objects in the design So for that, what the what I'm going to do is I'm just going to increase the size a little bit first. Then I'm going to move it over here. I'll have to keep the room for the second icon as well. So let's just design the second icon very fast. So this is one box, alright, with one line like this. Okay, and then it has to be repeated multiple times. Right, and then you can just merge the layer. Okay. But as you can see, the first grid icon is selected, so we are just going to turn its color to a little bit lighter gray, like this. Okay. And we'll just align this icon with the search box right align, and then you can just keep it over here like this, and this is how the tab would look like. And since the comparison tab is selected, so we are going to just select the comparison tab. So for that, I have just selected the shape layer. I'm just going to create this curve box behind it, and I'm going to use blue color. You can pick the color from over here as well to maintain the color scheme of the design, and keep it below comparison. And since I've taken the darker color shade for this box, I'll just turn my text color to white so that it looks natural. Okay. And maybe you can just turn the height of this box to 60, and it can be increased a little bit like this. And now you can just bring this analysis and reporting a little closer. So this is how this menu looks, and since it is also the part of this total canvas, so we have to align it with the menu icon over here. So I'm just taking my grid layer from over here and placing it like this. So if you don't have these rulers in your canvas, all you have to do is press Ctrl or Command R. Okay, so this just turns on and turns off the ruler. Okay, this is how the menu is looking now. Okay, so we'll just club all these menu icons and write menu. You can just take it a little bit higher. Okay, so we have just completed with this part. Alright, now let's start with this first graph that is showing strategic canvas. So these are two line graphs, and as you can see, there is this marks representation on the left, horizontal, vertical and horizontal as well, and then there are these dotted lines that are in the background. Okay, so first let's just create this outer canvas. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create another shape layer like this, turn down its curvature to a little less, maybe like this much, and turn off its stroke and choose the white color. Like this. Alright, so now what we have to do is we can just start with this headlines. You can probably write strategic canvas, darker shade of this text like this. You could increase the size of this to 34 maybe, or maybe what we can do is we can just select 28 and select a bolder text font. I generally like to use Proxima Nova because this gives a really realistic design sense into the complete design. Okay, and let's just duplicate this text layer and move it over here, and we have these two text marks mark, marks over here that says West Medical and Dignity Health. Okay, so West Medical, going to turn it down to maybe 18, take off its bold and keep it over here. Then there is Dignity Health. So we have to align this Dignity Health with this above icon, and we'll just keep it like this. I'm going to use this Eclipse tool to create these two color marks over here. I'm duplicating it for West Medical as well. And then there is this blue, so I'm just going to select this blue and this orange, and I'm going to replace these with the original color designs. Okay. So here we have both the text elements as well, so we can just probably move it a little bit closer to the Dignity Health and move these circles a little bit closer to their text representations. So these circles are basically showing the color of the graphs and represent their values in this particular element of strategic canvas. So let's start creating the graph from here. Okay. So first we'll be creating the background dotted lines. So for that I'm using pen tool, and in my pen tool I have selected stroke value of 2 and this dotted line structure so that it matches with the original design. Okay, so we have many modes in this. We can either use dotted lines, dashed lines like this, and then there is dotted as well. So in some cases if you require dotted lines, you can probably use dotted like this as well. So for this design we are just going to use this dash line element. Okay. So but as you can see in this design, these lines are very slightly visible, so I can probably use my stroke to be of 1 point and the color of the stroke has to be very light. Okay, maybe matching this icon over here. Okay, like this. So it is visible, it is here, but it's also not visible, so that it doesn't grab the viewer's attention, because it has to be there, but it is not that prominent kind of a thing in this element. Okay, so let's probably just create, how many are there? 5. Okay, 5 lines. I'm just duplicating it by pressing Ctrl J. You do not need to worry about this spacing between these lines because you can alter it at a later stage. I'll show you how. So if I freeze my last line to be here, I just have to freeze my topmost line, and then I'll just select all these lines, and I'm going to use this distribute icon from over here, and this says distribute vertical center. So when I click on this, all of these lines are distributed among themselves and at a certain fixed distance from each other. Okay, so we'll just press Ctrl T while keeping all the layers selected, and I'll just move it a little bit over here because we need to have this text values over here. So I'll just duplicate this strategic layer from over here to here, and I'll just start adding these values. So first one was 0. I'll just take off the bold and keep the size to 24. Okay, then there is, first I'll just duplicate these text layers like this. here you go. You can see that we have created this graph over here, and I'm just grouping all these elements that I have designed so far. Then we can have this price, service speed, volume of service equipment that is written over there. Okay, so for that I'm just going to duplicate one of these layers from the 0 layer and take it over here and start with price. Then there is service speed. And there is volume of service. These are elements depend on your design. Okay, so whatever the requirement is of the product, you have to design your graphs according to them only. We can just decrease the size of these text layers a little bit, maybe 22, and let's now just create these graph lines. Okay, so since we have started graph lines from this point, we just have to start this graph to be available from here only, and you can just create these random lines this point. Okay, so this can be the graph for one of these colors. So I'm just selecting blue maybe over here, and I'm just using the dark lines, and I'm just increasing the stroke value to 3. Alright, and then I'll just create another line over here. Here also I'm going to use the stroke value to be 3. So you can work on these lines to make them better and look more appealing. It all depends upon your design sense and your time that you have for the design to be ready. Okay, so we have created this one element. Alright, and we have created all this menu. Let's just start with these two boxes. There is this client satisfaction that has this donut chart which is having 3 values. So there are many ways to create a donut chart, but I'm going to show you a very quick one. I'll just duplicate this box, and I'm just going to merge the elements of first graph, and I'm going to take this box downwards like this, and we can probably increase the size of the canvas. I'll just press C for the crop tool, and then I'll just increase the canvas size. Okay, and now let's just create this first, the pie chart. Okay, so for this what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a donut shape. So what we can do is I have this donut shape in my shapes layer. If you don't have this, you can just go to the settings option over here and choose the all key to get the maximum shapes that you can use in Photoshop. Okay, so I've just selected this shape layer, and I'm just using it like this over here, and then from the properties of the shape layer I'm just turning off its stroke, and you're going to use fill color of maybe any color. So in this case I'm going to use this one, the lighter shade, as the fill color. Alright, so I've taken this like this. So the fastest way in Photoshop to create a donut chart just like this is this one. Like, first you have created this donut, then go to shapes, go to the rectangle tool, and take another rectangle. Okay, turn off its stroke, fill it with the color that you want to use for the design, and then just press Alt in between these two layers. So this is how you can get a curved donut cut out inside the donut chart. So this is the best method to use this. And if I just click like this, so here what I have done is I have just taken my shape layer and I have just altered its edge to make it sharp and in the design segment, so that it looks just like how a donut chart would be. Okay, for that I just used my pen tool and I just edited its shapes, edited its corners. Okay, then just duplicate this process, and you can probably have the third box of the third color, like so. For that I'm just going to do it like this, and you can do it like this. Okay, so as you can see, we have these three layers and we have got these three colors. So this is the fastest way how we can create a shape, donut shape inside Photoshop. And since we have used all these shape layers, so we can alter the colors of these shape layers at any point of time in our design. So let's keep it like this only for now. And there are these values that represent the colors and their percentage in the element. So let's just first start by creating this heading. I'll just decrease the size of this donut layer like this. I'll just move it a little bit downwards. I'm going to use the strategic canvas tagline by duplicating it like this, because we have to maintain the size of these taglines, because this is a very essential part of the design. So there is line satis. Okay, we can probably increase the size of this box, and as you see I have increased the size of my canvas. So what I need essentially is I just need to increase the size of these background layers as well. Okay, so now let's just move this donut chart a little bit downwards like this, and let's just create these numbers. So for this I'm going to use the same size of this text. So for that I'm just duplicating this text layer, I'm moving it over here, and I have these values negative, positive, and neutral. Okay, so we have to write negative, Control J, Shift move it, I should probably use this eclipse layers as well with it. It's negative, Control J, and we have this positive, and if I select this positive and use duplicate it again, and we have this neutral. To have these elements in a symmetric spacing, I'll just group all these elements together like this for positive and for negative as well, and then I'll just move the top one to the desired location, and then I'll just select all these three and distribute the layers like this. Okay, so now let's just change the colors of it like this, and for this like this, and for neutral we'll use this lighter shade, and Let's just add the percentage as well. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate these layers, Ctrl J, Ctrl J, and I'm going to select all these three layers and move them like this. I'm going to use this right alignment, and I'm going to add 30%. Then we can have 50%, and then we can have 20%. Right, so we have this donut chart and its values set like this. So you can probably write it donut and you can move it like this. Alright, then there is one drop down also present over here. So for this, what I'm going to use, I'm going to just duplicate this text layer. I'm going to write West Medical, and I'm going to decrease its size to 24. I'm going to remove its bold, and I'm going to use a very lighter shade of text, just like in the design. Okay, and then from the shapes menu, I'm going to choose this triangle shape, and I'm going to draw it like this. I'm going to turn off the stroke. I'm going to use the fill color to be the darker one, and then I'm going to just Control T, and from the right click menu, I'm going to just use flip vertical. Okay, so we have this drop down. You can just probably decrease the height of this drop down to match it, and decrease the fill color to a little bit lighter shade of blue. And we have to align this with these percentage values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these two layers and group them, and I'm going to move it like this. Okay, so this is how this graph can be done, and you can just probably decrease the size of this box over here to maybe 320. This is how you can just do it. Okay, and now let's just create this income graph. Let's just group all of this, and I'm going to just duplicate these two layers, and I'm going to move it over here, and do it like this. Have it like this, and here we can say income graph. Here we need to have these dotted lines, these values, and at the horizontal axis we have these months. Okay, so I'll just duplicate these numbers and these dotted lines. I'll just press Alt, and I'll just move them to income graph to duplicate them over here like this. Okay, and we can just decrease the spacing between them. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select this thing and this line. Okay, so this is with this one. I'm going to select this and move it like this. Select the third one and the fourth, and these two. I'm going to move them a little bit downwards like this, and then I'm going to do the second one, and I'm going to repeat the process till I have achieved my final graph values. Okay, now let's just, I'm just pressing Ctrl T after selecting all these graph layers, and I'll just put it over here and this one over here like this, and then so we can just remove the top one for our use like this, and we can just move it all a little bit upwards because we need space at the bottom to have months as well. Okay, so let's start with Jan. here. Select both of these, duplicate these. So March, so April. Let's select all of these and press a vertical alignment like this. Okay, so now let's just create all of these bars over here. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to use, I'm going to just use my rectangle shape tool. I'm going to use it like this. I'm going to create a bar over here, and instead of using the stroke color, I'm going to use the fill color, and I'm going to use this lighter shade like this. Okay, and then I'll just duplicate this particular bar, and I'm going to decrease its height like this, and I'm going to use my orange color to maybe up to this much height, and then I'm going to duplicate it again, and I'm going to use my decrease my size height of this design, and I'm going to use blue color. So you can see we have achieved the same design very easily. Okay, I'll just duplicate this. You can just randomize it. Alright, and then duplicate all 6. And duplicate this one to create the last one. So we have this design as well, this box design, and you can tweak the naming of these months, because these are a little bit on the higher side of the text size, so we can probably decrease it to 18, and increase its color as well, and you can just move it a little bit upwards like this. And this is how we have designed this income graphics. So we can just go into this income, keep it like this, and this is it. Okay, so let me just group it and say graph 3, and this one was graph 2. So we have completed with all the elements that are present in the left side of the design, and if you see, there are these elements in the right as well. There are these folder options, there are these add new option, then there is this notification icon, this user icon, and there are these compare drop downs, and then there is this image. Okay, so let us start with this also. So for this, what we're going to do is we're just going to first start with the header. I'm going to icon finder again, and I'm going to use notification. I'm going to use free, and we want a notification bell that is straight, okay, not tilted by any means. So I can probably be taking this one. This matches the best to it. Just drag and drop and resize it. I can just probably match it with the size of this icons that we have created earlier, and I'm just going to place it over here in the center of this search box, and with this notification icon I need to have a user icon as well. So I'll go to the icon finder again, and I'll just use user, and I'll probably use this one. You can also create these icons in Photoshop, but since I'm creating a tutorial and we have a clock that has been running from more than 40 minutes, I'll just probably use these icons that are already present in the free resources section of this icon finder website. Okay, so we have this user icon as well, and I'll just select both of these icons and move it like this. And for notification, to mark that you have a notification over here, you just use a red colored fill circle on top of it. So I'll just turn off its stroke and I'll just use my red color option like this, and I'll just place it over there. Okay, so we've got this icon like this. So we have got these icons ready, and now let's move to this analysis tab. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this strategy canvas title from here, and I'm going to use it over here. And alignments are a very important part of all the design elements. So as you can see, this analysis tab starts just where this tab was there in the left section. So we have used this analysis tab, analysis text, and we have created it aligned with this menu over here. Okay, so now we have to add this add new button. So let's just create it by duplicating it, and I'm just going to use a very lighter shade of text, and I'm going to use text of maybe 24, and I'm going to remove my bold, and this is how we can create it. Add new text, maybe a little bit darker like this, and then we have to create this plus square box. So I have just taken my shape layer by pressing the shift key, and I'm creating this box. But since my curvature is too high, it is looking like a sphere, but if I decrease my curvature, you can see that it looks more of like a square. And I'm just going to use this blue color, and there we go. And I just think that I have to increase these icons a little bit in size, because these look a little bit smaller to me. And once I have done it, I'm just creating a ruler for marking the vertical alignment for these elements. So and for creating the plus sign, I'll just use my text, and I'm just going to use the plus key from my keyboard to create this icon over here. Okay, I'm just going to increase its size to match my desired resolution, maybe a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to select the box and the plus icon, and I'm just aligning it. Okay, so we have got this add new icon also present in our design, and then there are these two boxes. So let's first of all start grouping so that our layer menu looks fine. And let's just say notification and profile, and this is the menu. Okay, then we have to create these boxes. So for these boxes, I'm going to use my shape layer again, and I'm going to use this alignment from this, and I'm going to create a box over here, and I'm just going to use this color, and I'll just decrease its curvature so it looks more like a square, not like a sphere. And I'll just use this color over here. It is actually this background color only, and this is how I created the box. I'll just duplicate the box so that I can check if the dimensions are fine. So as you can see, this is a scrolling box segment, so we have this half cutout box over here also. So I'll just make it closer like this, and I'll just duplicate one of the boxes, and I'm just going to create another one like this. So it gives us the feeling that there is something that you have to scroll it, and you can check the options inside it. Okay, so now we need this folder icon. So for that, again, I'm going to use this icon finder, and you can also create this folder icon in Photoshop if you want to use this, and by creating in shapes, using shapes, and that is also a better option. But just because we are creating a tutorial and I have to move fast, I'm using this icon. Okay, so I'll just move it over here like this, and maybe a little bit smaller. And to change the color of any of the icons, all you need to do is go to the FX menu and choose color overlay, select the color from over here, and here you have the final result. Okay, so let's just place it over here. Let's duplicate it and change its color to orange. Okay, now sometimes what happens is the icon that you're using are a little bit of too thin as compared to the original design. So what you can do is you can just select the icon, go to FX menu, add a stroke to it. Okay, and in the strokes color you need to select the same color, and instead of using position inside, you can use center. So what this does is this creates a stroke inside and outside, so you can increase the stroke value of the icon. So now this icon is visible in a more better way as compared to the earlier stroke. Okay, so I'll just duplicate the stroke and I'll use it on this second icon also, but I need to change the color of the stroke to orange like this. Okay, so now let's just add the text layers that are present in this. So I'm just going to duplicate it, get this layer, and I'm going to use medical and fintech. So let's just complete this one first. So first I'm going to use thin style, or maybe regular only, and then I'll just duplicate this medical, and here we have to use a smaller text font, so maybe I'll use 24, I'll just say USA, and then there is California. So we can use maybe 22 in this, and you can just turn its opacity a little bit downwards to match the theme of the design, and probably use it like this, and then just duplicate it for a second box. And here we have fintech, and it is Europe, Germany. Okay, so we have created this folder site over here as well. Now we have this compare drop down option, so we can design this very easily. So all you need to do is just start by duplicating this analysis word from the menu like this. I'll just group all this first. Okay, and so we have this analysis over here, and I'm going to use it to for my compare text. Then we have these two drop down with these two circles as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just duplicate these tags from over here, and I'm going to use them over here. Okay, so I like to duplicate my elements because it saves my time quite a lot. So instead of creating everything again and again, you can just duplicate and modify the already created elements. Okay, so let's just increase the size of the circles like this, and you can keep it like over here. And as you can see, the text sizes are a little bit larger over here. So I'll just select both of these text layers, and I'm going to use 24, and I'm going to align them on the horizontal left side, and let's just create these boxes behind them. So for that, I'm going to use my shape layer, and I'll just turn off my stroke, and I'm going to use these boxes with this background color. So this is how I'm going to do it, like this, and I'm going to decrease my curvature a little bit, and that's how we have this drop down also present. So now maybe we can do this like this. Alright, and now you can just duplicate this drop down box over here, and we have got this drop down options over here, and I'll just duplicate my shape, this triangle shape, to create this drop down icon for both of my boxes. Maybe a little bit smaller in size, like this much, and do it like this. And just some drop downs. Okay, so we have done this one also, and now we need to just have this image over here. So instead of using this, I'll probably just write a code over here. Okay, and you can probably just turn off its stroke and use a nice bright blue color, and I'll probably be leaving it like this only. So you can see we have completed the whole design in just around 1 hour, and that was just when I was doing my narration as well. But if you're not narrating and you're just working on it, you can probably finish it in 30 to 40 minutes. And hope you have learned something from this video, and if you have liked the video, please subscribe to the channel and share the video and press the like button below. Thank you.